Hello Internet. Sorry it's been a while since I've uploaded anything, but we're going to have a look over the team that I used in Milan today. Just briefly, because honestly I've kind of got bored of it. I have not been playing with it on Showdown or online or anywhere. So although I thought it was a good call, I suppose, for Milan, not really anymore. Not too interested in it, but I'll go over it. I'll show you what I use just out of interest, basically. Give you a bit of thought behind it. Obviously I can't give you so much insight to this team as I can my other teams, because I built this team in about a week and a half and used it in the National, and then pretty much soon after just discarded it. So there's not as much thought in this team as the others, so I can't talk about this for too long. But amusingly, looking at the team, you can kind of see a bit of a pattern, a bit of a link, I suppose, to the Liper team, because we've got the the Dark Pranks type. We've got Sableye here. We've got the Cresselia, which obviously I had in the other team. Then we've got the solid rock type, which is Rhyperior. We've got Ferrothorn here, so there's no Spore, there's no Amoonguss, there's no kind of sleep moves on this team. Charizard and Sylveon as well. So Charizard in the Mega slot. Sylveon, if we were mirroring, the other team would be the Thunderous. I did think Rotom Wash would be quite nice on this team. It does complete like a Firewater Grass, but I like the Sylveon in there, just because, I mean, honestly, mainly because I haven't used Sylveon in this format until this team, and I quite enjoyed it, really. Before I started building this team, it was one of the American regionals. I saw Colin, the Battle Room. He was playing with his Cresselia and Rhyperior on Sylveon. The rest of his team was completely different, though. He had the Mega Salamence and some other stuff. I didn't really like the rest of that team. Obviously, it worked out for him because he won that tournament, but I really liked the Rhyperior and the Sylveon in Trick Room, and so I started to kind of build around that, and I thought, well, whatever I have that is paired with Rhyperior, Cresselia and Sylveon, it needs to be good against Bisharp, because that is probably the #1 threat, and it still is one of the biggest threats to this team. Aegislash doesn't give the team too many happy days either, so whatever Mega I used in the team, it had to be good against them. He used Mega Salamence on his team, I presume he built that team, so he will know the thinking behind everything there, but I thought Charizard is surely the best for this core. So I started to think, well, I can, well, there's all kinds of stuff that you can do with Charizard with Cresselia. We saw in the National there was the German players with, I don't know if it was Eloy that built it, I tend to think it was, but there's lots of Germans that using it with this really fast Cresselia with skill swap to, keep the sun up and, get solar beams off and all that kind of stuff. I do like that, but there isn't skill swap on this Cresselia, unfortunately. The Rhyperior also, on Colin's team, it had solid rock, so that it could take a super effective hit quite well, activate the weakness policy, and then hit back obviously very hard. I didn't use solid rock, I used lightning rod on this because that synergizes really well with Charizard as well. So maybe some super effective hits it might not take too well, but the thing with Rhyperior is it can't normally take unless it's like, I don't know, a really weak something. It can't really take 2 super effective hits anyway, so I didn't really feel, too aggrieved missing the solid rock, basically. And Ferrothorn is on here. I will go through all of these spreads, in a bit more detail just in a moment. Ferrothorn's on here because, it works quite nicely in Trick Room. I thought it was pretty good for the metagame. I know Rena did quite well with a Ferrothorn on her team as well in the event. And I think there was 1 or 2 other Ferrothorns top cutting as well. I think Ferrothorn was a nice choice. Jamie, although he didn't use it in Jamie Milan, although he didn't use it in Milan, had top cut both UK and German with the Ferrothorn as well. I did like Ferrothorn, and now that I've been using other teams and stuff without Ferrothorn, I kind of miss Ferrothorn a little bit. So I do like it. It kind of seemed like Ferrothorn was easy mode in a way, because if they don't have anything to hit your Ferrothorn, then Ferrothorn could just stall out entire teams by itself. It's a very good Pokemon. The last Pokemon here, or the last Pokemon that was added onto this team, is the Sableye. Now I did have Scrafty on this before Sableye, and thinking about it after the event, I think Scrafty probably is better. Just because I don't have, and I did know this going into the event with Sableye, I don't have a Ghost Resist, so Aegislash is even more of a problem. The Sableye is kind of tweaked a little bit to, you know, be a bit better against Aegislash, but it can't really switch in happily, and it's not that great. But Sableye does do things Scrafty can't do. You know, like being purple. It makes a team look a whole lot more colourful, doesn't it? But I think really Scrafty was probably the better choice. But let's just go into these. Let's you know, show you the spreads a bit more. Here's the Sableye then, rather, not the Ferrothorn. So you know, pretty much particularly specially bulky. The rest in defence. Citrus Berry is not an item that you regularly see on Sableye. I did think about Mental Herb. Mental Herb is obviously a very good item on Sableye, but I did want this Sableye to be good against Aegislash, so with the Citrus Berry and with this amount of special defense, Sableye can basically take a modest max Shadow Ball, recover with Citrus Berry, and then take another one, so it can take two of them. And obviously it's slower. This one's sassy. It took me ages to breed a sassy. Oh, that's a Mewtwo interrupting. Took me ages to breed a sassy one with minimum speed. You know, obviously, it doesn't need minimum speed to underspeed Aegislash, but you know, just why not? It does underspeed. Obviously, a foul play will knock Aegislash out in blade form. Will-O-Wisp, I wanted on there just because it's something extra for Kangaskhan. I don't have any fighting attacks on this team, so Will-O-Wisp, something extra for Kangaskhan. It also kind of half neuters Bisharp as well, which although Scrafty is probably better against Bisharp one-on-one, it does activate its you know, Defiant obviously, and can cause a few problems, so Will-O-Wisp was quite nice on there as well. Recover was maybe the sort of move on there that I was a little unsure about, although it was quite nice to sort of burn things and stall them out. But Quash was maybe the main reason why I wanted to use Sableye, because the rest of the team is very, very slow, and I'm kind of reliant on getting Trick Room up to be going fast. Sableye acted a little bit like another form of kind of speed control, so that I could quash things, and it did do a lot of work in practice, although I didn't take Sableye at all at the tournament, unfortunately. It was just so nice to quash things and then hyper voice them, or quash things and rock slide them, or you know, quash things and gyro ball them, or you know, or even quash things to allow Cresselia to get a really safe Trick Room up. So it did have lots of uses. I did quite like it, but like I just said, I didn't take Sableye at all in the tournament in Milan. So you know, take from that what you will, really. Rhyperior, it's like I said, it's weakness policy. It's Lightning Rod to protect the Charizard. I did like leading with Cresselia and Charizard, and that meant that if they led with a Thunderous, for example, I could switch either Cresselia out, expecting maybe a taunt, for Rhyperior, and protect Charizard from any Thunderbolts that might go its way, or well, yeah, that was it basically, to protect the Charizard from any potential Thunderbolts. I suppose the problem with doing that is I've lost any kind of control over the game. There's no speed control there, although my Charizard is quite fast, but we'll come on to Charizard in a bit. I've got Earthquake and Drill Run on this set. I was tempted, because weakness policy, I mean, it's not a gimmick weakness policy, but it is quite temperamental, I suppose. Like, sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't work. If Rhyperior gets burnt, then you know, it's kind of useless in a way. It doesn't really do too much damage, so I was tempted to put Lumberry on this Rhyperior, Lumberry, and maybe Substitute on here as well. But I did like having Earthquake, I did like having Drill Run, because if I show Drill Run, they kind of assume I don't have Earthquake, and they might not Wide Guard. Also, you know, being a spread move, Earthquake is handy for you know, for that reason. But and Drill Run for, you know, obviously getting round Wide Guards if they do use it. But it just gave me some more options, really, catching things on the switch in as well. I did like it, but You know, Rhyperior is it's a funny Pokemon. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it fails completely. Never usually much middle ground with it. Ferrothorn, the green member of the team. This is Ben Kiriaku's spread. I basically knew that I was using a Ferrothorn on this team. I went to Ben, and he was very kind enough to breed this and train it up for me. And this is his Ferrothorn from his 2014 team. It does a few things. He'll know the spread more than I do, but basically the spread here allows Ferrothorn to take down Kangaskhan with a Gyro Ball after it's taken Rocky Helmet and Iron Barb's damage from maybe a Fake Out, or even a low kick maybe, if it decides to go for that. So Ferrothorn was another thing that I had against Kangaskhan, which was kind of nice. And like I said at the beginning as well, Ferrothorn was very nice at stalling out teams. It was such a solid Pokemon. Maybe if I did keep Sableye on this team, I might be tempted to change Power Whip for Knockoff. Basically because I have got Solar Beam on this Charizard, so I have got some grass coverage on here, but if my opponent gets a substitute up with Aegislash, for example, Ferrothorn can't really do anything to it. So, and that was a problem in one of the games. One of the games in Milan, I suppose it's kind of inexperienced using this team. Basically, there's nothing, after we both led, there was nothing I could do to stop his Aegislash getting a substitute up. And then from the rest of the game, that Aegislash was a problem. So Ferrothorn couldn't do anything about that. Knockoff on Ferrothorn might, you know, help remedy that problem a little bit. So that's the Ferrothorn. Cresselia is, it is what it is. The IVs and everything are how they are in game, just because that's how it was caught. Minimum speed, basically all bulk in there. The little bit of special attack in there is just token, really, doesn't really do much. Psychic Ice Beam, Helping Hand, Trick Room. The only thing that's interesting about this Cresselia spread, or Cresselia set really, is the safety goggles. Just because the team is so slow, and the last thing I wanted was to lose to you know, a Lipid Breloom team, basically. So you know, Breloom does outspeed every member on this team apart from Charizard. So I wouldn't want it to basically put everything to sleep. So Cresselia with the goggles can beat Breloom, obviously, but also it can get Trick Room up in the face of things like Amoonguss, and I can safely switch Cresselia into Amoonguss and predicted spores and things like that as well. So I did like the goggles. Sometimes maybe I thought I would have appreciated the recovery from a Citrus Berry, or there weren't too many times I thought Mental Herb would have been nice, but I do like the goggles. I think it was a good item. I think it was a good choice. So is the other kind of interesting thing about this is Helping Hand. You don't see too many Cresselias with Helping Hand, although it is a very good move. But basically, it means that if I was in Trick Room, especially with Sylveon out, I could just Helping Hand Hyper Voice, and it just destroys most things, really. So that was the thinking there. The Charizard is the only fast thing on the team. Now this is, I suppose, a bit of an interesting spread. Interesting moves a little bit. For a Trick Room team, I suppose you could call it a Trick Room team, this Charizard has got maximum speed. It's modest, but it's maximum speed. Now it's like that because, well, why is it like that? It's like that because I can outspeed Timid Heatran, which is one thing, and obviously I've got Hidden Power Ground on there. But also, other Charizard might be a problem for this team, because they usually have Solar Beam as well, and Rhyperior is the only thing that I've really got to hit that. So, especially if I'm not in Trick Room, or I don't have, Sableye for Quash or something like that, other Charizard could be a problem. So I wanted my Charizard to always go first, basically, and with Flamethrower, as you can see on here, in the sun, it still does a good sort of 40% chunk to other Charizard. It's very, very nice. Charizard, this is the first time I've used Charizard Y ever, really, properly. It was always a mega Pokemon that I didn't really like too much, but I do like it now. I have to say that using it on this team, I've been won around with it. One of people's biggest problems with it is that its stab moves are inaccurate. Like, Heat Wave is probably the most common move on Charizard still, and it misses. It's not too reliable. But Flamethrower, I thought this Flamethrower was fantastic, because although you can see I haven't got much investment in this Charizard. Like, this is the normal Charizard, this isn't Mega, but you can see with these 8 EVs, I'm at the bump already, basically. So I've got an extra 2 there for my stat points. So there's not much investment in there, but with Flamethrower in the sun, it's a single target. It does one-shot Aegislash, it does one-shot Amoonguss, and Heat Wave just doesn't do that. So Flamethrower was really nice, I did like that. And so by having such little investment in special attack, that did allow me to put the rest of it into speed and into bulk, basically, into the HP on there. So I did like that. Flamethrower, Solar Beam, quite, well, Fire, Attack, and Solar Beam, quite standard, and Protect as well. Hidden Power Ground is, you know, getting a little bit more common, I suppose, on Charizard. I do like it. Like, I don't like Substitute or you know, any other kind of move like that on Charizard. You know, Ancient Power. I suppose Ancient Power would help against other Charizard, and that could be a consideration. But I do need Hidden Power Ground on this Charizard for this team because, you know, look how weak the rest of the team is to Heatran, really. So I needed lots of ground, you know, hidden powers and stuff on this team to help me deal with that. So Hidden Power Ground was kind of a must on this. Hidden Power Ground doesn't one-shot Heatran, but it does with Helping Hand. So the amount of times in practice, and I did actually do it in the tournament once as well, where I led with Cresselia and Charizard, and they led with like Heatran and Aegislash, or something else, Amoonguss, that is weak to fire. The amount of times that I just used Helping Hand, Hidden Power Ground on the Heatran turn 1 and took it out, that was fantastic, because especially if I had Ferrothorn in the back, then I could, you know, just sit back and, you know, just roll the game out and win from there, basically. So it's, I suppose, it's a high risk move, and maybe in a best of 3 that could come a little bit sticky, but I did like doing that, and you know, that's my kind of style, I suppose. Hidden Power Ground was fantastic. But yeah, quite a strange Charizard spread. I did enjoy it. The last member is Sylveon, and you know, it's a strange IV spread. This is how it is in game. Thanks to I think it was Joe that bred it, Joe Birch. This one IV basically is, you know, same as minimum speed here, so still 58, but the 1 means that it's Hidden Power Ground as well. So basically, again, I've got something else for Heatran. Life Orb as opposed to Specs, because I don't really like being locked into things. I don't really like choice items in VGC. I don't think I've ever, like, I probably have at some point, but I can't remember the last time I used a choiced Pokemon in VGC. I just don't like it. But Life Orb, it's a bit of a strange choice, I suppose, because Sylveon is quite a bulky Pokemon itself, and I'm doing 10% to myself each turn. You can see I've got my my Life Orb number here ending in a 9. But Life Orb just, it gave its moves a big kick. Hidden Power Ground again came close to one-shotting Heatran. Hyper Voice with a Life Orb, sorry, still does a lot of damage as well. Now, I suppose I couldn't have a team without Calm Mind, could I? So Colin had Calm Mind on his Sylveon. I really liked that, so I put that on here as well. The amount of times in Trick Room they were going to double protect or something like that, you know, maybe my other Pokemon covers both of their things with a Rock Slide or something. It's quite easy to get a free Calm Mind up with Sylveon, and that's basically a Specs in 1 and a bit of special offense boost as well. So a Calm Mind +1 with a Life Orb, it does a lot of damage. With a Helping Hand, it almost one-shots anything, really. It is so powerful, and it's very, very fun as well when you get that set up. So some slightly different you know, moves, some slightly different spreads, I suppose, to this team. But like I said, this team was only about a week and a half in the making, and so maybe if I was going to carry on with it now, I might change Sableye again back to Scrafty. I might put Knockoff on Ferrothorn. You know, maybe I'd put the Lumberry on Rhyperior. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. I did quite like using this team, but obviously it didn't go too well for me in the tournament in Milan. But it was good fun. It was fun using something different, actually, because, you know, I was kind of sick of using the same old team over and over again. But there you go. There's my team. And I've talked for almost 20 minutes about this team, which is quite impressive, I think, considering it's a pretty young team. But thanks for watching this, guys. Right now I'm going to probably go and do a couple of battles with this team actually, and record them as well, just so that you can, you know, wrap this team up and see how it does. Now I've been talking about it for a while, so thanks for watching this, guys, and you know, I'll probably upload the video soon after. So, right, thanks for watching. Goodbye for now.